What up? Welcome to Jasmar's podcast. Right quick. Well, of course we gonna jump into the news. Oh shit, my fault. Mac Anthony in the building. Let him get that out before he get to sleep, man. Fuck you. Uh, we finna have a big podcast. You know what I mean? We gonna have a special guest. We gotta get this done. You know what I mean? When we off, we try to at least put one podcast out there. It might be 90 doing his real nigga collection, or the Great Joe Show doing his Joe Show podcast. But you got your boy Jazz. Uh, like I said, we finna get into the news. Breaking news for us over here on the West. The Ronald podcast is the least successful thus far. You know what I'm saying? As far as the podcast game we got going on. Justin infamously called this shit trash. You know what I'm saying? Which is crazy. But we ain't tripping over it. We understand. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to get to the second story like right now, nigga. In the middle of talking about the first story. Fuck that shit. Look. The second story. So, since the beginning of the week, Sunday, every single one of my appliances, my nigga, has found a way to fuck up. Every single one. It started with my white iPod. The screen just stopped working. I restarted it like 10 times in a row actually. When it first happened, you know what I'm saying, it was raining. So, I expected a little bit of damage, you know what I'm saying? And, I didn't know how long it was gonna last. But I was able to move the screen lock key, but then I wasn't able to move if it was a object on the side of the screen, I wasn't able to press it. That was kind of disabled. Parts of my screen was disabled, so I couldn't use shit. Later on, as the day progressed, I couldn't use the shit at all, and then I couldn't open my iPod screen, nothing. I'd had to hold the middle button down of the iPod to save whatever request I want. And this shit might be longer than the actual shoot, but fuck, so yeah, I just had to play my music say playlist, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I had to do it like that. And that wasn't too bad, but it was still, some bullshit. During this process, one of my headphones just stopped working. I don't know why. They just stopped. So I used my Beats by Dre beats that only the left side work. And the only reason I used those is cause my money was getting low. But I was going to get paid Thursday, which is today, so I ain't tripped too much about it. During the process of the Dre beats, you know what I'm saying, me playing the music at work, them shit stopped working. I'm like, what the hell? So we had to buy some new headphones, you know what I'm saying? Bought some new headphones for $9. They work good as shit. Oh, no. I had used some other headphones, some Apple headphones I had the next day, and the shits get stuck up inside my iPod, the white iPod. It's stuck in there, the little shit. It kept cutting on and off. And then I'm like, what the fuck is going on with my iPod? I take my headphones out and the little piece of the headphone is stuck inside the iPod port. You know what I'm saying? So now I can't put headphones in this iPod. I gotta use another iPod in order to play my music on. That's when this shit that I'm recording on right now started tripping. You know what I'm saying? And it just started opening and calling people randomly and all kind of shit. And then it ain't over. I use the iPod I just use for XTV shit. You know what I mean? I just use this, to like see where I'm at on my projects and shit, and Cosby Show, all that. So I just use this as the music iPod, since my other music iPod is fucked up right now. And everything seemed all real good. I had to get new headphones again. Yeah, what a surprise. And they haven't been fucked up yet. So I'm using this shit. And today, this shit say connected, but it's not even connected to the laptop. How in the fuck's way is this shit happening? Before all of that though, this laptop been shutting off out of nowhere. Y'all heard me rant about this shit on multiple podcasts thus far. This shit just been cutting off out of nowhere. You know what I mean? But it's been straight. But it keep breathing hard. You know what I'm saying? My computer got asthma and shit. So, I think that was disrespectful to niggas with asthma. My bad, Mac Anthony. Fuck you. But yeah, it's just that bullshit, man. I don't know what the fuck going on with none of my appliances. I need this iPod for tomorrow. It's the only music iPod I got. I already told y'all about this shit. Cutting off and cutting on, playing voicemails, playing fuck ups from the Jasmar podcast and all that. You know what I'm saying? Super loud too, like being in the middle of the work with my fucking iPhone and this shit playing Jasmar podcast, loud as hell. You know what I mean? I don't know what the people at my job think of me. Like they just hear Owana talking shit. Oh, junkyard dog and that. I had dog. I don't know what the fuck going on. But that's part of the news. That was supposed to be the second story. What was the third story, Matt? Man, what the fuck is up with your laptop? I don't know. No homo. Shit's retarded right now. Yeah, man. The fuck. But the second news story is right now, man. You niggas need to check out the Terry Williams and Justin review of. They reviewed XTV action in Orlando. You know what I'm saying? And that's actually inspired us over here on XTV West Coast to, you know, give it a second look. And honestly, in my opinion, like, I still kind of feel how I feel about the event, with a few minor different. I kind of looked at it from a different perspective though, but it's still like we just know what's when we at our best. Exactly. Like, it's just certain shit, you know what I'm saying, that I would just change about action in Orlando. But it's just done. Like that was one of them events. I think a lot of niggas from XTV East Coast can relate. Like, when certain shit that you in the process of doing is cool, but it's like when it's done, it's done. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't have the fondest memories as far as working on action in Orlando. You know what I mean? We just was glad it was done, not happy when we hugged and it was good that it was finished and shit, like Do the Right Thing or whatever movie. You know what I'm saying? It was just like, okay, we finished the shit, man. Can I do something else? Let's work on this Jungle Fever shit. So that's just how it was with that. And we got a podcast coming up though, with me, Trunks, Killer, who goes in on Terry Williams. I ain't giving shit away, but Killer has issues, of course, with one of the people that commented on the Action in Orlando event, Terry Williams. And I'm just gonna say that, like, I ain't giving shit away. It'll be uploaded this Monday, and oh my God, you know what I mean? he let loose. That's probably the biggest. Yo, I think it's the biggest section of the shit. Like it's like long, you know what I mean? Killer. And I think DT probably said some shit on it like, "Damn, killer." Exactly, but that's the news. Sorry, we 10 minutes in and we ain't got the guests yet. Uh, but the guest this evening, you know what I'm saying, was in 2 or 3 different organizations. He started in SIDE, you know, that's where he got his start. And eventually he went to CAW, you know, in his later years, I would say, and into HTV, where, you know, I guess he got more recognition. And so that's 3 decades of this dude. Artie McAllister, but y'all niggas know him as the Artist. Yo, what up, Artist? What's going on? Yo, I mean, you good? I believe the better question is, are you good? Yo, oh man, I understand your frustration. As you said, Jasmar, I've been in XTV for 3 different generations, you know, and I just know what it's like to really be working on something, and you know, things just don't go right, and you know what I mean. It's just like something you really been working on for a long time, and all these other different things are pointing to this project might not come out good, and then when it's done you're like, fuck it, it's done, you know what I mean? And I know what that's like, and you know, I just hope that your situation can get better. What a lot of people, you know, I appreciate that, by the way, Artists, you know, but what a lot of people don't know is outside of XTV, you actually a great philanthropist, and you actually a cool dude, but your character that you portray on a television set is so opposite of who you is, man. Yeah. So, you know, we gonna get into that, of course, but how was your early starts, you know what I'm saying, before XTV and when you finally came? Well, my early starts was, I was born February 1st, 1979, and, you know, I was with my mom, who was a registered nurse, and my dad, who was a bodybuilder, actually. And neither of them liked wrestling, which is crazy, but my grandmother, you know, I used to spend time with her on the weekends, and, you know, she would watch it. She would watch Dusty Rhodes and, you know, all these guys, Big Cat Ernie Ladd, and, you know, she had old videos, and my grandma was a wrestling freak for the 70s. You know how that, you know, the cliche picture of a kid in the 90s with Hulk Hogan on his wall and Marty Jannetty and the Rockers. You know, my grandma was like that in the 70s. It was just a different era, you know. But she was super fanatic, and she got me into it. And I used to love Bobo Brazil, man. I just liked him, you know. And it was just always something I watched as far as entertainment, you know. Growing up, you never think you could be some of those things you see. Like, I got friends that loved Bugs Bunny, but, you know, they didn't aspire to be Bugs Bunny or to be cartoonists. They just liked them. And I just liked wrestling, you know, but I never, you know, it never was really in my mind until life led me into certain situations, and, you know, I got into it, I'd probably say, really around college. In high school, I was doing a whole lot, you know. I was like painting, you know, overall, and I was really an artist, you know. I was just always drawing, and I was one of those kids with his notebook, always got drawings on it. You know what I mean? I'm always doing something. In the middle of class, instead of writing, you know, what's 1 + 1? This nigga, I'm sorry. We gonna have to delete that part out. You know, something just happened. But anyway, go ahead. Yeah, you know, instead of like the teacher calling on the class saying, you know, Artie, figure this math problem out, and I go up there and, you know, I draw the teacher and the correct math problem, you know what I mean, and all that, the whole thing. And it looks good though, you know what I mean. It takes me, because I was into speed painting and speed drawing, and I would do it in a matter of like 5 minutes, but it would look very good and very accurate. And the class would be clapping, the teacher would be angry. I'm being taken to the office, you know what I mean? And they're like, look, you're really, really talented, but don't disrupt the class like that, okay? But please do another one for me while we're in office so I don't have to write you up. And, it was little things like that going on. And, that was my passion. That's what I truly followed, art. And that just was something that was fun to me. And I'm telling you, man, I spent nights struggling. Like, I looked at all the great artists and seen all the stories that they had to go through. Da Vinci, you name it. I looked at them all and seen all of the different paths that they chose and the different paths they had to go on. And I suffered for my art. Like, sometimes I didn't sleep, I didn't eat, and it was like all that just because I wanted this to work and I wanted people to see my work. So I went to different art conventions, and it wasn't nothing like today. It wasn't smartphones. You read about these events in newspapers or word of mouth. Exactly. It wasn't no GPS. Nah, none of that. So it was payphones, and hopefully I didn't throw the number away when I was cleaning out my bag last week. And so it was going through all of that, and I had my moments, but I just never had my moments of doubt as much. I just had my moments of belief and understanding, and it was because of the background of my parents. I had a strong foundation. I noticed a lot of people within XTV haven't had a great backstory. You know what I mean, as far as family. You white, so your shit was perfect. Hey, you want to say yeah, but you ain't gonna say it around me because you don't want to be racist. So I just say it for you. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, you better move on. Yo, chill, Jazz. I'm sorry. I just was, trying to get into that, and I guess what led me into wrestling was being at my friend's house. It got really bad, actually, but I didn't want to believe it. You know what I mean? I was living from house to house, and just really not really like working. I was just always drawing, and he was watching British Bulldog versus Bret Hart at SummerSlam '92. And I haven't watched wrestling in a long time up to this point. Like, all I was doing, I feel like, from the '80s, or from as long as I was doing my thing, I was always drawing. So I was like kind of out of the loop, believe it or not, as far as all the stuff that was really happening, because I was into my world, I was into my creativity, and I was so blinded with what I was doing. I thought it was so next level, where I wasn't paying attention to nothing no one was doing. But it was one of these down moments. What the fuck was that? Where I had just like relaxed and chill with my friend and watched wrestling, British Bulldog versus Bret Hart, SummerSlam '92, and that just like made everything I did look like nothing. You know what I mean? I stopped drawing. I looked at my pictures different. I'm like, dude, and I got into the art of wrestling, and it just so happened the friend I was chilling with, he was also training to be a professional wrestler, and he took me to one of his little things, and man, it was just something I wanted to really do, but I loved art a whole lot, so I used to try to find ways to implement my art into wrestling, but I felt like my thoughts were so unique and so that people wasn't going to understand me, you know what I mean? Because I'm like, yeah, I'm an artist, but I like wrestling, and they're like, so you're a wrestling artist? You're an artist wrestling? Like, nobody understood what I was saying, you know what I mean? And I just, like, nobody got it. I even talked to Vince McMahon one time. Oh shit, Jasmar's podcast. I talked to him. This was 94. And, he's like, oh, hello? And I'm like, yeah, my name is Artie McAllister. And he goes, yes, we've understand that you've been training with various different people. Now, what did you say your character was? And I said, yeah, it's an artist. And, he just didn't get it fully. But it wasn't until SIDE, I'll say the 97. Hold on. I want to say 97. Yeah, I think it was 97 when you came. Yeah, I just came through, and there was a lot of people in SIDE already at this point, but this is when they were doing it on that game, the World Tour, and it was me that came in, and it was Dance Man. Lex Express was already there, but me and Dance Man came in, and what many people don't know is me and Dance Man are brothers. Although not as close, we are brothers. Word. So did y'all ever establish a relationship with, as far as y'all being brothers? Nah, and there's no hard feelings or nothing like that. We're just two different people. You know what I mean? We're just way too different. I have my kind of friends, and he has his kind of friends, and that's not a good or a bad thing. It's just what it is. We're there for each other like all the time, like you wouldn't believe. As soon as he called, like it doesn't matter. Like he could be calling me right now, and this interview would be over because you know what I mean. I'm gonna do whatever I can for my brother, but it's just that we just, as far as how we live, we're not as close as like, I don't know, Leave It to Beaver. I don't know, like close brothers. You know what I mean? And Antonio and Joad or whatever. So it's just like that, you know what I'm saying? And but we're there for each other, but we're not there. We're not that close. It's just like, hey, bro, you good? But Anthony's conversation with his pops, yeah. So we came in the business at the same time, though. Both our paths led us into different directions, and my first match, yeah, man, like what was that setting like? Damn, you just gonna cut him off like that, Mac? That's rude, nigga. Sorry. But yeah, we like going into the locker room and meeting all these people. It was very different. I think a lot of people have touched on this, like John Carter, the Pirate Ship, on his recent podcast. I think everybody touched on just how different it was, because this was just something they kind of randomly got us together, and we didn't know anybody, and they kind of just stuck me, Lex Express, Dance Man. They stuck us all in the same locker room, and it was just weird because it was just no talking. Like, I think everybody kind of had their different levels of mentality. Maybe they were just like me, had different career paths that they looked at, but one thing led to another, and now they're here. And some people had attitudes because this is not where they pictured themselves, but I was always thankful. No matter my position, no matter where I was, I knew it was a start for me to get to a place that I would eventually meet. And so, but a lot of people didn't have that mentality. A lot of people didn't think like that. So as a result, they projected their hate of where they were in their life onto others. And, without naming names, nah, nigga, nah. I truly feel you talking shit about somebody. Like, I truly feel like something's up, man. And this Jasmar podcast, we don't hold back. We don't hold back. Well, the guy Wolverine, oh shit, from SIDE was an asshole then, fuck it. I'll say it. He was just always like smart mouth, And he never said anything, though. It's like he'll have a big speech of, like, you know, if you see a toothpick on the floor, pick it up. Who cares if it's not been in your mouth? It's a toothpick and it's on the floor. And, he'll just like have long complaints about nothing and stop everybody from conversation. Like he'll jump, bang on the lockers and shit just to get us all to shut up and listen to him complain about almost getting a splinter from a toothpick that nobody's seen. You know what I'm saying? It could have been the maintenance guys that was in here earlier, but it's like, no, it's one of us. And, it got one of us names written all over it. He always said that, and we were always confused. But yeah, man, me and him didn't get along very well. We had a lot of crazy ass matches. It's like the Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder situation. Rest in peace to both of those guys. It's like that. They had great chemistry together, but friendship-wise, they were the worst. You know what I mean? And we couldn't be friends. And everybody in XTV couldn't understand it, or SIDE. They couldn't get it. They're like, how in the fuck do these guys have the best matches on a card, but their friendship is just so, like, they're not friends? And, we fought so many times in the locker room area where, okay, one time, oh shit, he comes in my locker room, like we were having a remodel, of our locker rooms at this point, because SIDE's starting to get big. And, we're having remodels and a whole bunch of stuff. Like, it was unorganized at SIDE, you know what I mean? So when they would do certain favors for us, we didn't know they were doing it for us. They would go behind our back and do it. So we got our own different locker rooms, you know what I'm saying? And we went to sleep one night, is all I know. We go back to our locker area, and my locker is no longer where it usually is, so I gotta find my locker, you know what I mean? And it's like they completely moved the room, like the locker room where I was, they completely moved it to some other location. I see this one location that has my name on it. It says artist. I'm like, okay, this is my locker room. I go in there, you know what I mean, handle my business and leave, go back in there. I'm like, I see the locker room and it's like completely fucked up and destroyed, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, what the hell is going on? Wolverine's like, oh yeah, you didn't get the fucking memo, man. This is my locker room. This is usually where my locker room is. I'm like, dude, they remodel it. We get into this big ass fight, you know what I mean? 90 and Gayleen are over there like filming it, and she's like, ha ha, this is how them crackers fight in the SIDE shit, you know what I mean? And it was insane, Jazz. Like, we were always fighting. Damn, y'all. So like that's one thing about these podcasts that really make me think, like, and just fuck me up, is that some of the beefs that we hear and the things that be going on, like, you don't expect certain people to be beefing. I mean, like you said, shit, when y'all matches was on the card at the time, they would be the best shits. As far as match wise and with technicality, you need Maka, nigga. But from every other aspect, like, I think Flamindo had the drama, of course, with his match, but y'all was always the most technical match, you know what I mean? And one thing I want to ask you, artists, though, like did that bother you, that you could never grow in SIDE? You had the underwear wrestlers in the first, and then the pants wrestlers in the third, or something like that, that never been able to get on top. Did that, like, really affect you? Oh, nah, yeah, it started to, when you're working with a bunch of guys that aren't like-minded, but you're trying to stay positive, after a while, it sort of does take a toll on you, because I was always optimistic and, always looking for positivity in whatever negative situation I was in, but it got to a point where everybody I was around was all in this same bubble of, being negative. And I wasn't comfortable. It wasn't my element. Like, if I was able to choose where I was, I wouldn't choose to be there, in that environment of negativity, because that really wasn't the right environment for me. And, I wasn't happy in SIDE, honestly. I really wasn't happy. Um, After a while, though, like at first, like I said, I was optimistic and I wanted to believe things was going to go okay, but it never did. In 2000, when Lex Express the main event, it was Lex Express versus Flamingo. What people often skip over, when that main event happened, that was special because Payne or Didi was the referee, and that was big because Lex Express, again, he's an underwear wrestler, and he fights in the first match, but something happened where he got the fight in the main event. And that was like everybody in the locker room was like, oh my God, we're going to get a chance. We're going to get a chance. But that was just a one-time thing. And the next week, it's like Lex Express didn't fight Flamingo because now he's still fighting in the first match again. And that is what made the audience and everybody stop messing with it, because it was more of the same and nothing was ever going to change. And now the audience sees what people have been feeling for 2 years, 3 years, you know what I'm saying, why they've been in the business. So one thing I would say is like, in that process, why wouldn't you just leave that shit? You know what I mean? Because it's obviously a ship that wants to sink. You know what I mean? They got all this opportunity to build up all this level of talent, but they ain't. They over here just whatever. Because it got to a point. You got to understand, it's still an era where it's hard to cross over to somewhere else. SIDE was the only remaining thing. And, as far as the movies, I think some SIDE stars, I probably did star in a movie back then, but it wasn't like something that was, popular enough for me to start my own thing. It was like, okay, you were in a movie, but so what? You weren't a major star, and you couldn't really get yourself over it, felt like, either. Like, it was like somebody got to like you from this place, and if they don't like you, then you'll never be anything. You know what I mean? So you mean like people like Flamingo? I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. We in the process of doing this project at the same time as we recording. So if you notice a few pauses, please forgive us. We just trying to get this shit right. We only got so much time. We got to work tomorrow. But as far as Flamingo, like is that who you talking about? As far as like you had to rub elbows with them, and do you think Lex Express rubbed elbows with them? I think Lex Express had I think he probably had an altercation, to be honest, because he was there way before myself, Dance Man, and a lot of the other people that later came on. As far as the third match wrestlers, I guess he was like the first one there, and he was probably tired of being there and just being there. Like, it wasn't like he was a major part of the show, and that really probably fucked with him a whole lot. And as a result, he probably did have an altercation with Jack Tunney. I heard this from my brother Dance Man, when we talked, and I heard this from, who did I hear this from? A few people, man. I can't remember right now. Brian Adams, the late Brian Adams. I heard this from those two people. But overall, man, SIDE was, you had to find somebody to kick it with. It was like every man for themselves, because every man felt lonely. We all were trapped in a particular class. It's like I said, the underwear wrestler. So everybody just failed by themselves because there wasn't no real way of knowing who's really good, because it's not based off of credentials, it's not based off of skill, it's based off of, you wear this, so you're with this. And that's just how it was in there. SIDE, I honestly don't really have the fondest memories, but it was a stepping stone where people got to know who the artist was, and it was Pedro Barba. Just chill. But anyway, so SIDE's over, and that was a bit of a stop point for you from the year that was 2000. No, I think you was on Raw, wasn't you? Oh, well, I probably was on Raw, but I probably wasn't used as much. And they probably didn't give me my last check either, bastards. So that was a bit of a stretch. Like, it was SIDE over 2000, and you ain't come to CAW to 2003. What was going on during that stretch, artists? I was starting to get back into art again, just like when, me and my friend watched British Bulldog and Bret Hart. I watched some film documentary from 2000, and it was these guys showing different eras of art, and it just, dude, it made me so, I went crazy. And I went back to art, and I went to getting that thing, trying to get into that. And it just wasn't meant to be again. You know what I'm saying? It was just something I just loved to do. And CAW, I just liked that it was so free. Everything, as far as like everything, like somebody said it probably last night, that it was anybody could come in there. You know what I mean? It was just like whatever. And that's what was good about it, though. It wasn't discriminatory, like SIDE was. It was just for certain people. And even in the SIDE, it was discriminatory because it's like, oh, you have to fight this person since you're wearing this. It was more so free. Like, anybody could fight in the first match, second match, third match. And, it allowed me to get a certain fan base over here on XTV West Coast. Because I finally got to pull off skills that I was kind of limited into doing in SIDE. Yeah, man. I mean, talk about that though. Like, cause I noticed there was a different type of artist in the year 2003 than the SIDE is. I was more so chop, in SIDE. It wasn't necessarily a whole lot. I mean, like I said, me and Wolverine, we had classics, but that's because when we got in the ring, our level of skill just showed, but a lot of things we were limited to because we were playing WCW Thunder, but 2003, it was different, and it was just great, man. Getting in there with Moonsault Kid Best, before he was on his way out. It was just a very exciting contest, and they put me on different magazines at the time on XTV West Side, look out for artists in the future. And, like, I was like really one of those top guys. I was close to winning the belt, but what happens again is, CAW's over because the WWE is happening, and, it's just all these artists, athletes from that are going there, and like a lot changed, and I went to the WWE to just like everybody from CAW. What people don't say most of the times when they mention the WWE story is that a lot of CAW guys went to the WWE for success, and some of these guys were very super over in CAW. Monster, Too Hot. You know what I'm saying? Even Flamindo, 90% at one point went there to fighting Hurricane and Goldust and staying in that league until they finally left because they're like, I'll never get nowhere because you had to be a certain level of good to this different audience, to these different people. So going over there, like it was a different story. And even though I was coming up in CAW close to winning their belt, I'm in this organization and I'm nobody, and nobody cares about the impressive moves I do, that crazy dive I used to do. Even though I'm able to use all my different you know accolades that makes me great, it wasn't over as much. Word, I see what you mean, man. So moving forward, man, I just wish this shit would let me put audio 2 on my damn iPod, nigga. Damn. I can't believe this shit is happening though, y'all. Like how all my equipment from Sunday to today has all just did this shit. This shit is crazy. This the reason I'm doing this podcast is really because this is the only thing I can do. You know what I'm saying? And because I do, I wanted to get that off my chest, and I think the artist story is very interesting. Sorry to cut you off, man, but I just think it's interesting. You know what I'm saying? Like, for you to be in 3 decades. But one of the questions I didn't ask you, and I'm going to ask you now, was the different environments. I mean, you said the locker room and SIDE was a bit of a, crazy, like everybody by themselves. It was kind of depressing, would you say? Oh yeah, like if you didn't get with the right like-minded people, you were mostly by yourself. You know what I'm saying? And that was the loneliest thing you could do, is be by yourself in SIDE. And I didn't really have a circle of friends. I was that lonely guy, actually, I would say, because there was nobody around. I mean, me and the servants, they were there for a while, but they got kind of pushed to the wayside. I think they left early. They're probably the first duo to ever leave SID, if I'm not mistaken, because they were sick of that place too, and they were people that probably came later, like probably after me. But while they were there, those were my friends. But it was like one of those things where, you were in school one year and all of your friends there. The next year, you have nobody that you know. And that's just what it was like once they left. It wasn't fun no more. It was this miserable environment that I remained in until finally, I found success. But as far as the CAW locker room, it was a lot. It was a lot more wider. So me and Wolverine, we didn't interact as much. Our matches were even crazier in CAW. You know what I mean? Like, I'm talking, we got to do more extreme stuff, and sometimes it got a lot more competitive with me and him, but it got a lot more personal with me and him as well. You know what I mean? Because I just felt he was just very disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? And it would sometimes get let out in the ring, and even though you're seeing this great athletic match, because we both have great athletic backgrounds, it was sometimes real punches, real ribs, and we got into it a whole lot, and we were like the best matches on the CAW cards at the time. But like I said, we weren't able to, have later success in what a lot of CAW people didn't have a lot of success in, minus Pain, D-Matic, and the Best, of course. But as far as the WWE locker room, that's the best locker room since XTV. Like, before XTV's locker room, that was the best, because you had everybody there. And I mean, it was nothing to get into conversations with Kurt, seeing what you need to work on and all these other different things. It was fun, man, and even though I wasn't like a major guy as far as being on the card, I felt very privileged to be a part of that, because that was a locker room of people that I used to watch growing up. I mean, we had older people around that time, still wrestling, and it was good talking to Flair, all these people, and man, it was just very fun, and I didn't last that long there, and I didn't get into art again, even though I was strongly, like, I always been into that. I still do it, but what happened was I got, my first girlfriend, Bianca, pregnant, and, she was black. Jazz, what's with you when this racist shit you've been on this podcast? Yo, that ain't racist. I just asked if she black. Shit, Bianca's a very black name. Yes, she is. She is African American. But she, she's very nice, and we went together probably during the later days of SIDE. I met her in the restaurant, and she was just arguing with her boyfriend on the phone, and I just went over to her because she was crying, like by herself, and I didn't like to see her like that. I think I used to see her around a whole lot, and she was just always smiling, always happy, and she'll see me and she's like, "Hey, how's it going?" And that's just how she always was. But it's just seeing her like that all the time, smiling and being happy, and then you just see her in that state. You're just like, dude, I don't want her to be that like that. I don't want her to be that hurt, And I just went over to her, and we just kind of talked for a good little while, and we became the best of friends, and friends led to a relationship, and then a dick in her pussy, and she's pregnant. Or so you got her pregnant. When was the baby conceived? Probably during the WWE run, you know what I mean? And she had it later on, like probably in August. Your son's birthday? In August 14th, 2004. This is crazy. Jasmar's podcast, yo. Yeah, she had it in 2014, man, and I mean 2004, August 14th. You're doing that. Getting on my nerves. And it was fun. I was able to get good royalty checks from the WWE and CAW as well. A lot of people to date didn't get paid from CAW. You know what I mean? A lot of people will say that. I think I remember Trunks talking about it a few times. Cowboy Jones, all kind of people have kind of have issues with that. It was a confusing payroll, and a lot of people point at Dixie, but a lot of people point at who appointed Dixie to be in her position, because she was just a little girl in CAW that they just gave a wrestling job to based off of popularity. So you don't want to get mad at a little girl, but it's still your money. So some people, like I said, they never got their royalty checks. I was able to get that, as well as the WWE checks. So that sustained us for a while, and it still helps. It still helps though. So I can never complain about that. Like I said, out of everything I've been a part of, SIDE, was like the worst. But the WWE, when I worked there, and we used to travel and deal with all the different things, like helping out autistic children, or people in homeless shelters. That really inspired my philanthropy, as you made mention of earlier when you were introducing me, Jazz. Because just being a part of that and putting a smile on somebody's face that, a cancer patient or whatever that doesn't have long, but you could be a big part of their life and making them smile, and doing whatever you can to keep them happy during this very rough journey. And that's what inspired me to just go out my way and help others be happy, and that's just what the mission I was on for a while. And me and my wife and my son, Xavier, we're doing great. Y'all ever got married? Yeah, definitely. We got married February 1st, 2005, and that's when I was just always doing philanthropist work. And it wasn't until 2007 where I really decided to come back. Now, you came back at a bit of a transitional time for XTV in '07. Oh, yeah, '07. because this is when Killer was starting to, you know what I mean, my nigga started to, grow and shit and do his thing. What was the changes you noticed coming back to XTV? Just that, how it was more accepting of itself as far as XTV West is concerned. I always felt back in the day, XTV West never truly accepted itself, as far as being different and being great. So it had to steal a lot of things that XTV East Coast did. There's no difference between Bobby and Best a lot of times. And, Justin and Trunks up on those old F&K episodes, like you see it, it's influence, but at the same time, stealing somebody's style is stealing somebody's style. And a lot of times that's just what it was in those old days. And that's not a shoot on anyone. That's not me saying, that's not me painting people in a bad way, because some of those people I just made mention of has admitted to that. You know what I mean? They didn't know their own true identity. So in 2007, for Killer to talk like he was talking, act like he was acting, it was like somebody's accepting themselves. And we had somebody to look up to that finally said, fuck what he says, fuck what they say. This is my life, this is my light, and I'm going to live it. And when I seen that, I knew that I was in the right place, because I've always been that type of person. Accept you for who you are. Don't wait for nobody else to do it. You know what I'm saying? Because they're probably never going to do it. And so if you don't enjoy your light, nobody else will, and you will forever live in darkness. Church. But this nigga rapping. What the fuck? Yo, what else you do on the side, nigga? Mac Anthony been up for 50 minutes. Word. Fuck you, Jazz. But yeah, man, it was just awesome to be a part of that environment. And I was a part of the era of the athletes. And me and Little 007, I'm sure XTV East doesn't remember our matches. And let me just touch on why XTV East probably don't even remember that y'all match. It's cause the era of the athletes was named that cause every match was athletic to a point that it's never been the technical wrestling. It wasn't just your match, it wasn't just Shadow, it wasn't just Bobby a Killer, it was everybody, and everybody was on point. And my nigga, it stayed like that from that period when Killer was coming in, 07 to I'll say 09 when Ada came, and that shit never stopped. You know what I mean? And that's one thing I can say I really appreciated about that era. I'm gonna be real right now, y'all. We've been over here doing this podcast. We forgot that we was doing this animation shit just now. And we ain't done a damn new update to this picture since it hit 8 o'clock, and it's 8:32 now. We just been yo, this how you know, man. Jasmar's podcast. Mac Anthony is still up, nigga. I like this one. But anyway, man, you was just in there, and you was a real bad guy, though. One thing I say I liked about you, artists, when you came through, is you was a real, old school kind of bad guy character that was just bad. And, that was a different time where, in order to be a bad guy, you had to just be fucked up. Killer peed on the title. You know what I'm saying? It's that's really bad, nigga. You know what I'm saying? You really don't give a fuck about nothing. But you, on the other hand, you was just that old school kind of bad, I don't know, like you said, your Bobo Brazils and all those other people you grew up on, But for some reason, it worked. That's because it was picture perfect. Oh. I just always knew what a bad guy was. I just know how they made me feel, man. You know what I'm saying? When me and my grandma was watching those matches back in the day, I just seen that, what got under my skin about them. You know what I'm saying? I used to just study that. Because grandma, when we were... Because she would try to get me to see I understand that you're passionate about this and you love wrestling, but this shit's fake. She used to get to little things like that because, like, she'll sit me down, she'll be like, Artie, and I'll just be going through my temper tantrums. Yeah, and then he just cheats and then Artie. I mean, he does this and that. And she's like, Artie. And then she'll just say, look, what don't you like about him? And, she'll just point out personality quirks that I don't like about disrespectful people or whatever. And, me realizing that, it's like I realized that's what's bad, you know what I mean, to me. And somehow I just picked up on it. And I became great at being horrible and disrespectful. And picture perfect. Where that shit come from? He used to do that in CAW. I don't know where picture perfect comes from. But I know that I don't know. I really don't know, man. Where I just picked that up. It just came, one day. I just like picture perfect. I mean, everything from me was very different. Like, even how I did my... Yo, we apologize. Like I said, this phone's still tripping. I hope we was able to get that last podcast, you know what I'm saying, with artists. He was going into talking about your name. Y'all probably hear the difference in my voice like a bitch. I want to toss this shit so bad, right? Don't do it, just let it live. I want to toss this shit off. We live on the 3rd floor. I want to go out there right now. I want to stand on top of a chair, then throw the motherfucker down from the balcony. So it can be just one more step higher, nigga. Yo, fuck McGaffney, fuck this phone. This shit crazy. But anyway, man, artists, go ahead with your name, man. I'll pick it up from there. Yeah, like I said, I just always been into art, and I thought even spelling my name would be different. And like I said, that's what I liked about that era, is it allowed you to be different in any way you wanted to. You had to get yourself over. It wasn't like back in the day when you had to wear underwear or whatever, and fight in the first match. It was like, no, it was all on you. And, that's what made it good to me, is that you got to really be you and showcase your character. And anybody could do it, but some people didn't work. And, my buddies came back, Ryan Strand, Chad McGee, you know what I mean? And we were good again. It was like we never left. It was like we were friends with each other for all these years, but we were really missing each other. We would see each other every now and then, but that was finally us getting to chill. And, man, we're never separated. We're 3 buddies that just, dude, we love each other. You know what I mean? And, life at that point was picture perfect. Like I had my art going on, and I was selling art, and that was going very well. Athletically, I was in the best shape of my life. Everything was really good, and it remains to be good. Like, I don't think that I had a real dry spell, or I know certain things were happening with the game, but I was always happy, getting good royalty checks in, doing what you love, that you grew up doing your whole life. Life has been very picture perfect. So now, 2016, you on Jasmar podcast. I mean, you done had feuds with Bob Classic. Bob Classic is the king of a pussy. Oh, shit. Let artists say this, okay? Bobby Classic is a crybaby, because if you beat him once, he'll cry forever, because that's what he does. He's a crybaby, and he's a loser, and he's nothing like me or the servants, because he's not picture perfect. When you look at it, Jazz, McAfee, Mac just went to sleep. Damn, fuck you. When you look at it, We fought at Sides of Mania 2013, I think. The most recent. We fought in a great match. Bobby couldn't be there because he knows he would have gotten his ass whooped by the artist because he's afraid of the artist and he's not pissed about. Well, yo, there you have it, artist. Any shout outs to Chris Major? Anybody? Chris Major, that's another great guy, man. He gets the business. He gets, being an athlete, and I hope he can team again. Bring Major Perfection back. I think I teamed with 10 Money and all kind of different stuff. I think I was a part of the Nation. Like that's why I say life has been good, because I've been involved in various storylines. And even though I haven't won a major championship yet, as far as like XTV belts, I feel like, when we get this game again, I feel like I could be one of those guys that's on his way to getting that. I think that's the only thing I truly need as far as this, you know what I'm saying? And I've had a picture perfect career since 2007. Thank you, XTV. So that's your future plans. I mean, the championship. Yeah, I plan on trying to go after that. But if it works out, it does. But if it doesn't, it's all good. I've had a lot of fun. I've actually had a whole lot of fun going back on this on my career with this podcast. Hopefully that last part works. You know what I mean? But I don't know. Well, this has been Jasmar's podcast, and I hope my iPod decides to work soon, because I need it tomorrow. But until then, peace.